let's talk to our guest of the day. We're speaking today, Huber Bongolan.
That's
Credible
right.
CRE. Did I say it right?
You got it. Huber Bongolan. You got it.
Bongolan. Okay. I'm not very. I have trouble with Siegel, no less.
The Filipino last name. There's some weirder ones too, but yeah.
I've been practicing mine for 60 years, so with yours it's only a couple of months. So you're in the something I should see, because I think I've got something here that I usually remember because I am a big fan, and I think I might have it here. Maybe I don't have it, but every once in a while I remember to get this onto the board. I'm not, Josh, don't we have Huber's theme song here? Maybe I don't have the theme song for it. I thought I did, but we'll get that in here for you next time. I usually play the UFC fight song.
Oh yeah, very nice.
Because I am a fan. Now, before we get talking about legitimate stuff, so Monday night, are you going to be rooting for Notre Dame or Ohio State?
Oh my goodness, I will be just a casual fan watching. I don't care for either of them. If USC's not in it, forget them.
I've got a problem with this one. And the problem that I have is that I root every weekend during football season for 3 teams. And I bet you could probably guess this because I'm not a USC alumni. I am just a fan. I did apply there. I was accepted to go there. My accountant talked me out of it. But so I root for USC without a question. Anybody that's playing UCLA, I'm a fan that week. And anybody that's playing Notre Dame. So even though I'm not going to say I'm a fan of Ohio State, and now that we're in the same conference, it's even less, but there's no way I could ever root for Notre Dame.
It's impossible.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, I'm just going to go out there and throw that out there. Oh, wait a second. I think I just.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we had it here, Josh. Okay, I'm not going to play the whole song.
The whole thing. I might start jumping up and down.
There we go. Okay, so let's talk commercial. You're in the commercial real estate world. I play a little bit in, we do residential. We do home residential loans, but it's a completely different world when you're talking commercial real estate, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. So for most people, when you think residential, like 1 to 4 units, really that breakdown is at that 5-unit mark. So 5 units and above, you're kind of entering the commercial real estate territory when it comes to residential side. But then, of course, you have your other products, office, hotels, industrial, retail shopping centers. Those are all kind of under the commercial real estate bucket.
So let's start off maybe just talking a little office, because that's where I've been. Is there a market for office space right now, or is everyone just staying home?
So the last couple of years obviously has been very tough. You're starting to see big companies requiring the return to office and having them come back. So you're thinking that there is a thought that we're kind of reaching that bottom, and finding a place to enter now would be really good for people that are true office developers, office owners that really know the asset type. 2025 could be that year where you're seeing that bottom and it's up from here, right? So office isn't going anywhere. It's just not been the darling. It's actually been like the tough asset type over the last 4 or 5 years. Definitely on the financing side, a lot of lenders want to stay away from it. When they hear the word office, it's tough for them. Suburban office, it has to really be a good sponsor, really good tenant, people that know what they're doing and strong cash flows for it to make sense. But you're starting to see or predicting that bottoming this year of office valuations.
So let me ask you this, because, again, I study the markets a lot, and, the interest rate market is the same for everybody. The products are different, the collateral's different, but aren't commercial loans usually a shorter duration than our traditional home loan?
No, there's a lot of different products on the commercial side, depending on what your business plan is. So while in the home space, right, you have a 30-year, 15-year, different product types in that space when it comes to duration of the term. With commercial products, you also do have that, but it really depends on the business plan. So there's kind of 3 main types of products, I would say. when it comes to what's your business plan. You can do a construction, like a round of development. You could be doing a bridge loan where it's more transactional, or it could be like a perm loan where that's longer term. Like, hey, I have an office. Let's stick on the topic of office. Let's say I have an office property. It's fully tenanted, fully occupied, great tenants in the space. Then I'd probably be looking for something more long term, like a 5-year loan or a 10-year loan that's amortized over 30 years, but the term is typically somewhere between the 5 to 10-year space. So for viewers, what that means is your payment is based on a 30-year amortization. But at that 4-year mark, if you have a 5-year term, or around that 9-year mark, if you have a 10-year term, you have to figure out a solution for refinancing or selling that property.
So when we come back, I want to chat with you a little bit about that part of it, because you look back and you say, okay, in the last 3 years, the interest rates have probably doubled.
Yep.
And what's that going to mean for the availability and for the valuations? But I want to talk to you about that when we come back. Continuing our conversation, Huber Bongolan is with us. Credible CRE. We're learning together. It's Huber's teaching us. And they're talking about commercial real estate. And if you missed the last segment, shame on you. But we were talking about, I'm in the economics world, Huber. I just did a conversation with about 150 real estate professionals yesterday, talking about forecasting. And I wasn't talking about the commercial world as much, but my understanding just from economics is and history, 5 years ago, interest rates were better than they are today. And you were sharing with us in the last segment that commercial loans, they're amortized over a longer term, but a lot of them have a 5-year term on them, meaning that somebody has to restructure that, refinance that, in enough time, which means, probably up to 4 years. Aren't they going to be looking now at like almost double the interest of where they were at before?
It's a big problem right now. That's been a problem for the past probably 12 months once interest rates started to hike. So solutions that you've heard of, you've heard of or not, but extending and pretending, that's one solution. And that's where sponsors, knowing that, hey, my rates have been good and I'm coming up to my term, they'll ask lenders ahead of time, is there a way I can extend at my current interest rate? So they'll ask for additional 6 months or 12 months in hopes that rates will go down to a level where it makes sense for them to refinance into another long-term mortgage. However, if they can't do that and their lender is not willing to play ball with them, or even now they've already burned through an extension of 6 months or 12 months and rates, like we talked about in the last 3 months, have only gotten worse for longer-term loans, then a strategy that we are seeing is in the private credit market, where they're saying, you know what, there is some type of deferred maintenance. There's something that I can do to add value to this property. Instead of going for another 5-year or 10-year term loan, I'll do a transitional bridge loan for 12 months or 18 months and do that deferred maintenance item that I've been putting off for the years. And I'll do that now. So that way I can wait and hold out the market in hopes that interest rates lower.
So basically, then what you're taking out another loan, putting more money into the property on a very, very short-term gamble.
That is a strategy. Yes.
Wow. And
that last strategy that I'll say is really looking for a perm lender that has no prepay penalty. So that way, in the event that rates do go lower, you can refinance without prepay. So I know in the residential market, there's typically no prepay on any loans. But in the commercial side, on perm loans, you usually, if you're going to a bank or a credit union, you'll have some type of step down prepay, where in the first year, if you refinance in the first year, maybe there's a 3% prepay. In the second year, 2%. There's some type of a prepayment penalty. So if clients are willing to accept, hey, okay, rates are what they are, and I'm going to take the higher interest rate now, then at least what I can do is, if rates go lower in the next 5 years, try to structure a no prepay loan so that way I can get out of it and refinance as rates drop.
So are the lenders really doing the extensions? I mean, what catalyst is there for them to do the extension?
Yeah.
Knowing that, right now, they're not going to be able to go out and sell that in the marketplace for that same interest rate. I mean, if they have, and I don't know, again, say they had a 5% interest rate
Right.
4 years ago, and now say it's 9%, and I don't know what the numbers are. I'm just throwing numbers out.
Yeah.
Why would a lender want to do it, give an extension at 5 when the market's 9?
Exactly. So the reason for that is, number one, maintain the relationship with the client. Let's say it's a very good client of theirs and they need extra time, and the bank has other assets of theirs in their portfolio. They might be more willing and say, you know what, we'll extend, and like what you had just talked about, take a theoretical loss onto this transaction because we really value this person's relationship and we want to keep them as a client here. That's one reason. The other reason, if that's not that big of an issue for the lender, that they're not really caring about the relationship, is, well, what are our options? If we foreclose on this person, we're going to have to sell this property. We're not in the business of managing properties. We're a lender. We're here to recycle capital and take our transaction fees. If we foreclose on this person, that's just going to be a world of headache, litigation. Let's try to figure something out. So the kind of middle ground is, all right, we'll give you an extra 6 months, 12 months. We'll extend this for you. In exchange, we're going to charge you an extension fee. And that's been kind of the strategy for the last 12 months as we've kind of did this dance of where are rates going. The Fed's saying they're going to lower it. And in the last 3 months, it's actually been going higher. Where is it going here? So that's been the extend kind of strategy here. And the thought process behind lenders is, well, what's our best alternative? We don't want to foreclose. We don't have to do that.
And that also goes back to something that we talk about on Ron Siegel Radio all the time, is that the Fed is making their decision based on what they want to do with the Fed funds rate.
That's right.
But that's not driving where the market is. And obviously the market the last 3.5 months has been doing the exact opposite of what the Federal Reserve has been doing.
That's exactly right. I mean, with the Fed funds rate, it's short-term rates, right? So
right.
They will have a more dramatic effect on these bridge transitional 12-month, 18-month loans that we're talking about. But what you had aptly pointed out is the long-term rates, the 10-year treasuries, that has moved in the opposite direction, mainly due to uncertainties in the market. That's a whole nother discussion, changing of who's our president, right? What's going to happen with inflation? Where is unemployment going? That's a whole nother topic, but that's the reason why you're seeing the long-term rates actually go up versus short-term rates going down. It's a very interesting market.
Now let's talk about one other thing. I know we only got about a minute left in this segment.
Sure.
Is the other part of that means that maybe the owner of that property is being, might say, okay, well, I don't have any choice. I can't restructure. My only other option is to sell. Are you seeing more inventory coming on the market, and is that pressuring prices?
Not yet, but that is the expectation for 2025. If you look at all like the MBA mortgage reports, more transaction activity this year, because the extend that strategy we talked about was 2024 strategy. Well, now it's 2025. What are people going to do? So they might be, we're expecting an increase in transactional activity this year because that extend strategy has gone through and lenders aren't going to do it twice.
Will that push prices down or up, or will it have any effect, do you think?
Theoretically, it would push prices down. In a high interest rate environment, that means cap rates will probably go up with people needing to make a move in one way or another. Theoretically, it should push prices down.
So if that's the business owner's retirement strategy, they might have a little bit of a challenge coming up this coming year.
The hope is that they're not in a position where they have to sell, right? That's in the case that the lender's not giving you an extension and you have a term due. If you can hold out and wait, of course, this is a market, right? And we're susceptible to cycles. So if that's the cycle now where interest rates we're in a high interest rate environment, a lot of people potentially are more selling or have a reason to sell this year. If you can wait through it, that's typically been the better strategy, is holding on to real estate for the long term.
And then the flip side is that person that has cash, call Huber, because cash is king and it might be great for you. Continuing our conversation this morning, Huber Bongolan, Credible CRE is our guest today. And we're talking about commercial real estate finance and getting an education on, I talked about this, Huber, probably a year ago, that it wouldn't surprise me to see a major opportunity for people to get into commercial real estate if they've got the cash, just because of so many people that are going to have to restructure their deals, and it might not be possible. Do you think it is? Is this an opportune time, or would somebody with cash on the sideline? Is it better for them to wait?
No, I would say that. So what we've been talking about is mostly macro kind of forces here, right? Commercial real estate and real estate in general is very micro, locational, where things. So there is always an opportunity somewhere. There is a deal to be had, and I would say in general, if you had the cash and you're looking this year, next year, this year and next year would be great times to try to find your spot in the market and try to find that deal, because a lot of sellers, while they were waiting out 2023 and 2024, hoping that rates would come down and prices would go up, they kind of have to make that move now. A lot of people are having to make that move. So yes, I agree with you that if you have that cash, this year could be a very opportune time to try to find that deal that fits your investment parameters.
So that's the Warren Buffett strategy: buy when there's blood in the streets.
Well, if you're following him, I'm sure many of your followers are, many of your viewers are. He has a lot of cash right now, record levels of cash right now. So if you're trying to read the tea leaves, he might be seeing something too on the horizon.
And he's a pretty good one to read the tea leaves with, although, when you're 90 some years old,
Yeah,
at some point in time, Father Time catches up. Tell me a little bit about Credible CRE. What is Credible CRE, and how does it help companies or customers, or what do you do?
Absolutely. So Credible CRE is an educational and thought leadership platform in the commercial real estate finance space. What I found in my career is that the data is and the information is so opaque or behind closed doors, it's hard to find, or it's spread out in so many different areas. It's like, where do I even go for the right information? That is where Credible CRE comes in. I've been fortunate in my career to be able to see a lot of information coming my way, and people sending me things and telling me things about the market, and had some great mentors and leaders in my life to help shape the way that I think. So Credible CRE is my way of kind of giving back to our commercial real estate community, where it's synthesizing all of this information and putting it into something understandable. Break it down, make it easy to where even the layman can understand what's going on in commercial real estate finance to stay on top of what's going on. So that is the purpose of Credible CRE.
And so how does somebody reach you, or how does somebody get some of this information?
Absolutely. So my website, crediblecre.com, crediblecre.com. On there, you'll see all of the offerings that we have. If you want more information or want to book a time to talk about what's going on in the market, it also has at the top of the website a place where you can enter your email address and first name to get access to our newsletter, where we synthesize this information and send it out every Monday and Thursday morning.
Is it something that is, and I get it, I subscribed, full disclosure, I haven't read a lot of them, just because I get a lot of stuff and I haven't.
Sure, no problem.
But is it written for the rocket scientist, or is it written for a simple guy like me?
Written for the layman, right? One of my passions is teaching and giving back, especially to college students or early people on in their career. So this is written for anyone that just has an interest in commercial real estate finance, the markets, what's going on. Easy to just kind of snackable information and get what you need to know, and then get on with your day in a 3 to 5 minute read.
Wow, it's that quick. Okay, I didn't.
Oh yes, bite size. Our attention span. I mean, everyone. I think it's the TikTok generation. It's getting lower and lower. So I try to keep the information very bite sized, and then it's in the event that someone wants to learn more, there's information that leads them to more discussion on the topics.
Okay, Huber, you might have to start. What's the new one? Red Wagon or something like that? That if TikTok goes away on Sunday, I think it's called Red Wagon or something along those lines. Red Note. Okay, thanks, Josh. Red Note.
Yeah, I'll need to look into that. Okay, I'll need some education on Red Note.
Apparently, it's TikTok, but it's the same as TikTok or similar. And it's also another Chinese company. It goes right back apparently right to the Chinese government. So.
Well, that's an all other conversation too on what's happening in that space. But
yeah, we don't have time because Josh already told me I'm talking too much. And thanks for coming on, Huber. If somebody wants to get information about Huber and Credible CRE, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We put your link there on the screen, crediblecre.com, crediblecre.com.